Yo, 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 Afi Kingdom from the Afi Kingdom Podcast, aka International King Afi. We got a special guest today, and I got my brother on. Alpha Villains, we're going to talk about manifestation. We're going to talk about being the best version of ourselves, embracing struggle, all of that stuff. So let me go ahead and first introduce my brother over here, AB.
Yeah. What's good? I go by the name of AV, aka Mr. Weekday Mornings. I appreciate you for having me on, man. I'm looking forward to this conversation, man, because everybody needs this, man, and we're gonna deliver it properly. Salute.
Cool. And then my special guest, what's going on?
What's going on, bro? Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Just go ahead and tell them who you are and what it is that you do, my bro.
Hey, man, my name is Manifesting Mitchell Ruiz. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I help people get where they're trying to go, essentially, whether that's information, whether it's resources, any kind of support. That's usually what I provide. So,
Manifestation in the back, real quick. That's going on, man. So, where you from? Tell these players about your background and where you grew up, how you grew up, to get
yeah,
you
man.
Yeah.
In the Bronx, we grew up in the South Bronx. We grew up in the projects. Man, I mean, just to give you a story of, my pops had went to prison when I was about 4. And, I have 4 brothers, you know what I'm saying? And so we were living in apartment 5E. Apartment 5B became available because the lady got shot through the peephole.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to go after her daughter for whatever reason. That's the story that we heard. But, they had an extra bedroom. You know what I'm saying? We moved in, we're filling the hole in the wall. That was just kind of like a norm for living in the projects in the Bronx. So, there was a lot of times that we were like, oh man, we thought we saw the lady at nighttime going to the bathroom that got killed. But yeah, growing up in the Bronx, man, it was just tough. But the beautiful thing I would say in hindsight, that I have with the gratitude and abundant mindset that I've adopted is that my mother raised us with love. So, what I'm saying, being that, that is, to me, I feel like one of the most valuable assets that you can have because, what I'm saying, love can conquer anything. It'll allow you to endure. That was one of the best gifts that I had, even though, what I'm saying, it was financially constrained. We couldn't go to any of the school trips. I barely could afford the basketball jersey to be on the middle school basketball team. It was all those different things, but it's one of those places, I feel like that are everywhere. They're all over the world. You know what I'm saying? It's just you can't really hide from it. You know what I'm saying? Like your parents have to bring awareness to you at a young age in order to truly protect you instead of protecting you in a way that you would think more in like a suburban environment. And yeah, man, so that really, I feel like, prepared me early on for a lot of the things that were going to come. And, it's an environment where you have to strike first almost. It's like if you're not somebody who's willing to stand for yours, then, what I'm saying, you're going to get stepped on twice as much. And so, yeah, man, I lived there till I was 16. Thankfully, I got out there, I feel like at the perfect age where I wasn't fully immersed and didn't get tainted in a way like in the juvenile system. I moved out to Miami for a couple years, lived out there. There I got into more trouble, and
yeah, because they used to love New Yorkers. When we came from New York to Miami, we was the shit. So I feel you on that.
Background, y'all both came from New York to Miami.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, Mitch, because for me too, I was getting into trouble out there. And I came over here and I was rocking Timbs. I was that dude rocking Timbs on the beach with jean shorts. You know what I'm saying? Like doing goofy shit. But they were feeling it. You know what I'm saying? I was getting into more trouble out here. And then they had that rivalry, the New Yorker versus Miami. So I could definitely relate to that. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interject, but I had to say that.
You hit it on the head because it really, brings you back into the emotions of that introduction.
Right.
Because, when you're coming from New York, especially, you're like, what I'm saying? It's hard to, we have such a pride to us, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like trying to say that we're better than everybody else, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, yo, the Yankees got 27 champions.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Let's go. Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
it is what it is. Right. right.
So yeah, man, like Miami was definitely, you know what I'm saying, an awakening, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I went from like trash being on the sides of the roads where we're walking to school, and you go into South Beach, like you're saying, where it's just absolutely beautiful. Beautiful women, beautiful people.
Everything.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times because I went out there with a hammer and everything looked like a nail. And I wound up getting myself into some trouble for fighting. You know what I'm saying? I had like that insecurity, that chip on my shoulder where it was like, yo, you're not gonna disrespect me, and not realizing that you can't fight every battle. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't just be trying to fight every battle because you're gonna lose. And so yeah, my mother was talking to the judge on the Nextel, and I was, in an orange jumpsuit and basically pleading with the judge to let me go so I can move upstate. And so I moved upstate. Thankfully, the judge, listened to my mother's reasoning, and my father was getting out of prison. He was in Clinton Correctional. And, we were just stuck in that survive mode mentality, that reptilian brain. Right. And, so when I moved upstate, it was like, we were in the woods. And, as far as we perceived it, because it was like one blinking stop sign and, just fields. And so it wound up being where, it was the best thing that happened to me, even though I couldn't perceive it as such in the moment, because I just had time to really question and self-reflect and ask myself, why am I here? What am I doing? And so, yeah, that led me on a journey of, it was the first 3 years of being up there, man. It was just, like I said, doing the same things. We, we're partying, we were self-mutilating, the way that I look at it now, the excessive abuse, basically. And, that led me to a crossroad where I almost hurt myself through drug abuse. And, that was like a point where I had to choose, like either I'm going to continue doing these things that I know the result that it's going to garner, or I'm going to do something, that's going to be the equivalent of the suffering. It was suffer or suffer. So I wound up choosing, the personal development. It became like an absolute necessity for me to go back to what I felt like was the best version of myself. You know what I mean? The potential that I knew that was there. And yeah, man. So like that, choice, I wound up getting my GED. From my GED, wound up getting my 2-year degree. And just to fast forward a little bit, I avoided student loan debt, and avoiding student loan debt, I just got a bunch of certifications. So I became a fitness instructor for the University of Rochester. In the process, I wound up, I wound up becoming a realtor for Hunt Realty. Real estate led me into banking. And then, I wound up getting a job with JP Chase as a banker. Never had any banking experience, anything like that. It was just the power of networking and, charisma and, conviction. And yeah, man, that refinement of working for JP Morgan, Fortune 100 company, during the pandemic, I had the confidence now. And then like also the necessity. It was like, life will put you in a pressure cooker and make you make a choice to where it's like, either you're going to swing back or you're going to falter. And I just knew that, being from the Bronx, having all those different self-identities that are like real core memories, it was like, yo, I'm always going to swing back.
Not having it. We're not having it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, bro, it wound up being where I was like, yo, I'm just going to go all in on, like this private equity, because I wound up, fixing my credit. My credit got shot. Sure. So I wound up fixing my credit. Was figuring out, just how to think like an entrepreneur, because I was coming from this mindset where I wasn't good enough. I was, playing from behind. I come from this lineage, this legacy, this, lifestyle. I feel like there was still a lot of subconscious parts of me that, wouldn't agree with the direction that I really wanted for myself. And yeah, man. So I wound up jumping out of the window when I absolutely felt like I had no other choice. It was like, all right, boom. So I I wound up rupturing my Achilles playing basketball. And so from a ruptured Achilles, man, yo, I don't know how Kobe walked on that thing, just to say that, because you know what I'm saying, I tried and I automatically was like, nah, this is not happening. But yeah, man, it was being, 60% pay, no commissions. My son is 1 year old, my girl's pregnant, and everybody's dependent on me. It's like the latter part of the pandemic, and I'm over here just, like not knowing how I'm gonna make it. Basically, you're just in that point where you can't even see. It's just all
emotional roller coaster. Yeah, shit is real. Yeah, it's real.
So, you know what I'm saying? I had joined a program that was about financial independence acceleration. And so, I'm learning about credit. I'm learning about, how to leverage it. I'm learning, more about just how to think like an investor. And so it wound up being where my mentor was telling me about a conference. And, there's like 12 other people on the call. So, you got to be vulnerable in order to get your money's worth. I dropped like 10 stacks on a credit card just to get into the program, to get access to the people and the information.
Yeah.
And, so I like dug a hole in order to build a ladder.
I like that.
And so, just having that blind faith and, listening to all these mentors, I'm saying, I'm like 60 audiobooks deep at the point. You know what I mean? Like I already like died twice. I felt like on my journey of rebirth.
Yeah.
And so it was at that moment, man, where he was like, yo, I'm throwing this conference. I had like $300 left on a Capital One credit card. And I bought the ticket, not even knowing how I was going to get to Miami. And it was the
back card right there.
Huh?
That's the get you back card. The Capital Ones. That's the get you back card, man. For sure.
That's a fact. They will hook you up when you're in a pinch. That is a whole fact. But yeah, man, so it wound up being where, I'm saying, I took that leap of faith. Somehow the universe had it in my favor, where I ran into some money from my grandmother. My grandmother hooked me up, man. I wound up getting 2 suits tailored, rented a Porsche. And, I'm saying, I connected with some people that were connected to private equity investments. So now I'm going out there like, hey, former JP Morgan, I jumped out the window. I'm raising capital for private equity. And that was, this new identity that I was defining as, what I'm saying? Or I saw the real opportunity for connecting and networking with people. That one event changed the game for me so much just within the network that I didn't even know how I was going to make it to the second event. You know what I'm saying? But I knew, and me and everybody else at the event were like, yo, we got to go to every event now. And so by the second event, literally, I remember it was April 8th. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make it to this one. It looks like my manifestation, the things that I'm writing down and I'm, professing and believing, are going to, what I'm saying, it's not going to happen. And then right the night before at like 8 o'clock, I checked my bank account and my taxes that were held up due to COVID dropped into my account, $9,000. Boom. So I had a choice. I'm like, yo, either I'm going to think in a moment of scarcity and be like, nah, let me, just hold on to this. Or am I going to rent the whip, get my clothes clean and get a flight out to Miami tonight? You know what I mean? And that's exactly what I did. I thought for about 40 seconds and 6 a.m. I got like maybe 2 hours of sleep that night. And I was in Miami for the next event. That next event led me to, I've been to about 30 events in the past 2+ years. Just from that, and that has just been like, I mean, you just start gaining momentum once you break out of the atmosphere. I feel like of the 9 to 5, of the rat race, of like just a community of people who are like kind of stuck, you know what I'm saying, and people who are really understand the principles of the mindset that are the most important and are acting upon that daily. It's a different velocity that you're actually moving with.
Right, it's it's different.
So yeah, man, it's been a true blessing, and it's been, I feel like, a calling for me, especially for people that relate to people like us that come from the disenfranchised, come from the hip hop era, come from that, that mud, to share, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, we really just being polished, to share like the true intrinsic value that I believe all us human beings have if we just, refined the way we looked at ourselves, and took action.
Yeah.
You got something maybe? Because I got a fire question. But
Yeah, I got a couple of questions, man. You know, a lot of people, you took the leap of faith and you did something that most men, I guess, don't have the balls to do. You had to make a decision between your belief in yourself and what your duty is as a man, because you said you had a child on the way, your girl, you got a family. And a lot of men, because I guess nature, we were taught that we have to put, the family, the women and the children first. And a lot of people can't relate to that. And because it usually them putting them first, most men that put their women and children first lose in the end. But what you did was remarkable, because most people don't have the stones to believe in themselves, to know that I believe in myself so much, I'm gonna go this way, knowing I'm gonna bring you guys along with me. A lot of guys can't do that. What was your thought process behind having to choose?
Just a great question, by the way. I feel like, man, it was, I had to trust myself. You know what I'm saying? I could see it. I was the only one that was doing that, that compound effect. You know what I'm saying? Right. I was the only one reading the books. I was the only one, you know what I'm saying, like working out. I was the only one. Well, I'm not saying that nobody else in my house was, but like,
sure.
You're getting ridicule from the girl's family. You're getting ridicule from your own family. You know what I'm saying? What is this person doing? He's irresponsible. You know what I'm saying? He's selfish. He's only thinking about himself. You know what I'm saying? Because they see you when you go out there, and they're not understanding that these networking events, you know what I'm saying, are like celebrating success. And they see you're pursuing success, and you posting things on Instagram and social media, and people are like, you know what I'm saying, his family's over here not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know their situation, and he's out there, you know what I'm saying, celebrating and you know what I mean? Like driving nice cars and looking nice. And I'm like, you guys just don't understand like what it takes to create the vision that I have.
Right.
And so it really took like a mentality of like, okay, I'm gonna show them. You know what I'm saying? The mindset of like, I see it, I know they don't, and I'll forgive them in the future for their ignorance almost. And and also that was the other side of that coin, which is like if you running out of fuel, you know what I'm saying? I always have like 93, and then I got like that unrefined, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Emergency, the 83, 88.
The
83.
Right. So like for me, it's like, okay, if you also think I can't do it, now I gotta show you I'm gonna do it. And
I wish more men had that belief system that you had, that you came from, because a lot of people, I know you said your mother showered you with love, and a lot of people aren't very receptive to love because a lot of men weren't taught how to receive love or display love, but that's another conversation. But the fact of the matter is that that grit that you had, sometimes you can't explain it. Like if somebody were to ask you, you can't really give them a direct answer, because it's more like, I don't know how I did it, I just did it. I wish a lot more men had at least that blind faith in themselves to even try to do some shit that they were not taught to do because they were just tired of it. You know what I'm saying? That rat race is real. It's like credit. It's real. It's like this modern day slavery that we're all exposed to, and a lot of people think it's normal. So when you got guys like us ready to jump out on the fucking ledge, and that's that journey, it's lonely at the top, it's lonelier on the way up. That shit is hard, man. And a lot of people need to understand that as well. And I think men don't jump into that innate feeling because people aren't going to understand what we got to go through.
Nah, you hit it on the nose. You inspiring some good thoughts for me. So I'm going to try to share some gems where, you know what I'm saying? Like the first thought that came to my mind, really the second thought was, you got to recognize when in your life you started letting water in your boat. Right. And I mean that by, you know what I'm saying, you started letting the people and things that happened to you affect who you were as a person to other people. Right. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like how you were affected by people or impacted by people, like that's their karma, right? And, you know what I'm saying, like once I stopped looking at the world from a perspective of, oh shit, I know everything, I've already seen it, done it, you know what I'm saying, I kind of have an idea of how humanity functions. That was just a an illusion to what had already transpired and what I was expecting for security for myself.
Right.
And so that's one thing, man. But the other side of it, I feel like it's people, are afraid of failure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not knowing that the result that they're looking for is going to be what happens is what stops a lot of people from having that confidence, because they'd rather maintain their justifications and their sense of strongness for not doing something, because they're still able to maintain what they see as their manhood. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I'm comfortable here. I'm gonna bust my ass, do jobs, do XYZ, which is still valiant, not trying to put it down by any means, but like not to do the big thing that they know that's in their heart. So like, if what changed it for me was like, this concept of be, do, have. You know what I'm saying? That it's an actual formula for creating the reality as a human being, the mechanism that we are. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna do, then have, and then become eventually. You know what I'm saying? You have to be in your mind and crystallize it, and then every day go out into the world and look for it and say, where is this thing that I know is mine?
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And that could be the biggest thing that you could think of. That's a theory that I tested. And literally, as I came across more information, you know what I'm saying, just being as, I feel like, maybe crazy or gangster or whatever it is that you want to associate with that bravery, to say, yo, I'm fucking going for it. It's my one life. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna, I know that, like, my first philosophy when I had that drug overdose, when I was like, I'm either gonna recover or I'm gonna go out swinging. And I felt like, yo, that's still pretty gangster. And that still aligns with my identity that I have coming from the dirt, to say, you know what I'm saying, that was something that's I could put on my tombstone and say, all right, that motherfucker went out swinging, and that's what I want to share with people, is that, this idea of manifestation is really, think of the biggest thing you could think of, write it down, crystallize it, think about the pieces you have, the pieces you don't, figure out the baseball diamond, and then go out in the world and look for it, because it's yours.
I'm gonna say you should just go ahead and take a shot to them gems you just gave. Just go ahead.
Hey, salud. You already know.
I got something for the both of y'all, since we all going through transition. This is the question that I had earlier, and it just kind of just goes automatically. And the conversation is just, we can all just chop it up about the power and just the importance of having to reinvent yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we get so reluctant and we just have a routine, and it's so hard to break that routine. And these things that are in our mind, just that aha moment where you just need to take action, whatever it is, if it's the relationships you gotta sacrifice or whatever, but you just figure out that in a moment in time that you are here for something bigger than your existence. You feel me? What y'all got to say about that?
Man, reinvention. I think it ties in all together with what Mitch was saying, what you just said, man. It's that fear, man. It's that fear, and another thing too, being a man of a certain age, sometimes things will define you. The C-19 defined us. Transitions define you, losing a job, losing a spouse, your kids rebelling against you, going broke again, then doing it all over again. But every single time, it depends on the way that you perceive the things to happen to you, and it's only going to label you as strong or weak. Every time something like this happens, you have to reinvent yourself. You have to add what you learned from the last occurrence and reinvent yourself to make it affect or make you stronger to deal with whatever's to come. Here's the trick about reinventing yourself. When you have people that care about you, who count on you, you care about, you have to try to, men hesitate to reinvent themselves, even though they know it's going to work, how it's going to affect their children, their spouse, their loved ones, their mother, etc. And every time you have to do that, you have to reinvent yourself with that particular family member that it affected. So now you got to deal with it with your daughter, your kid, whatever, right? So at the end of the day, as we always promote, Afi, you and I, you have to put yourself first, and you have to not look at it in a selfish way, as long as you have good intentions. But it's important every day to reinvent yourself, because that's the only way you're going to challenge yourself to do better.
That's And let me do a shameless plug too, because when we watch this, I just dropped the Mess Game 2, the sequel to the 75 Classic. And then I plug the other humanizing storytelling that y'all love so much. They got a story in this frame just to have a movie Friday. It's the day in life of an expert level player, womanizer, and P Chaser. So y'all gonna enjoy that one. And on top of that, boom, boom, boom. We talking about international. My man's international. You got a trip coming up, man. Let's talk about that. To what's going on out in there.
I appreciate you, man. I feel like, just to tie it into what, you and AV so eloquently described, man, just like that.
Hold on one second. It's stunt time. I dropped 3 books on vacation, players. That's what passion do. You see, it's the opposite. Most of you guys work, and then take vacations. I drop books on vacation. I'm dropping international books about travel while I'm international traveling. Go ahead, bro. I'm just saying.
I love it, bro. Congratulations. That's what I was gonna tell you. When we first had the conversation, when we first met, bro, like, I could automatically recognize that about you, Afi, just to give you your flowers, is that, like you're leaving, a legacy for other people to really, adopt and plant those seeds for other people. Like, there's such a ripple effect, I feel like, for what you're doing informationally. Absolutely. And sharing that with the world, that like it's real, just you gotta have a heart for that, man. You gotta have a heart for that. So but yeah, I'm definitely excited for that drop though. You send me the links, you already know I'm gonna share it on mine. But yeah, man, like so the biggest thing that I could think of was a conference, and that was my manifestation with a good friend of mine named Chris Godfrey. Shout out to Chris. He he let me know that I had unlimited resources to do this thing that I could think of, so I was already thinking big. I was already, pursuing the things without having all the light at the end of the hallway, so right. So in going to my first 4 conferences, I had an epiphany from the network that I developed. Like, man, I'm literally combating generational poverty through my existence, my why, I went and I changed my major from liberal arts because that was what my counselor suggested, because I had no idea what I was supposed to put myself in the college for. And the second semester, after I failed every class except for stress management, because that was the only relevant topic, right, was I need to study business, because business is the universal language of trade. So at that time, when I was 20 years old and I was suffering, like I said, a drug overdose, and I was coming from violence, and I just still had this little seed of logic to say, what do I need to do in order to be a good human, to be a productive human? Right. And man, so, fast forward, like I said, it was just like, this revelation of hindsight being, I'm combating generational poverty through financial literacy. So what am I actually pursuing? I must be pursuing generational wealth. So in that, projection of myself, my family, my next of kin, was like, okay, I need to get people to tell me about this. How am I going to get people who have this, share this with me? One is probably pay them, right? And 2, either orchestrate or create something that's going to, align with where they see themselves going. And these events have just been something that I know absolutely changed my life. And that's been the, like the narrative for a lot of entrepreneurs, being like, yo, you got to go to these conferences, you got to meet, shake hands, kiss babies type thing. A good friend of mine, this is the place where it was like, yo, and sign titties. I'm like, hey, don't play this for my girl. Right. That was him, babe. That was him. Right. So basically, man, I wound up thinking of the biggest thing that I could think of. It was a 500-person event in Vegas. That was the original manifestation. And then as I'm going to these conferences, letting people know what I'm doing, what I'm building, it just kept getting bigger. So it kept getting bigger. And it wound up leading me to a conference where I went to. It was Fun Launch Live, probably about like I would say like 20th event that I had went to. And, like I met a guy who was throwing something in Abu Dhabi. So, being that the venue which I was going for was the Conrad, I already had went to the Conrad, looked at the theater that Luke Bryan and Katy Perry performing, you know what I'm saying? Like, mind you, in 2019 going into 2020, I was working at JP Morgan Chase making $40K a year. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that was the big thing that you know what I'm saying? Like, that was big coming from where I come from.
Yeah.
JP Morgan Chase.
Mind you said your 20th conferences because these cats will go to like 1 or 2 and be like, fuck it, you know?
Right.
Nah, bro. I just knew like the power is in people.
Yeah.
And man, yeah. So basically, just to fast forward it, man, because I'm really trying to get the story of manifestation, but essentially, the event that has manifested, has a lineup of billionaires that are going to be speaking on the panels. We've had to push out the date a couple times because, a good quote is that you never want to rush greatness. You know what I'm saying? I never want to be pressured by anybody else to fulfill something that I know is not where it's supposed to be. And, so we're looking at October, mid-October, early November, you know what I'm saying, for the Generational Wealth Conference in Dubai.
Nice.
We have, it's like 4 different panels that are going to be speaking. So you have like the different layers, you know what I'm saying, the way that I feel like the panels needed to be constructed in a way that the audience was going to receive the most value.
Sure.
And, being to different events, I realized that panel discussions extract the most value on the topic, having the experts, you know what I'm saying, go back and forth with a moderator.
Sure.
So, starting with the end in sight, I might just put save the cream for the end, you know what I mean? But, we're going to go into the micro with institutional investments. Then we're going to go into the macro with macroeconomics and ESG investments, which is environmental, social governance protocols. Essentially, it's basically progressive type of initiatives that the governments incentivize with lower interest rates.
That's awesome.
And then we're going to go into the future with cryptocurrency, Web3, blockchain. And then we're going to go into the legacy philanthropy panel with the billionaires that we have that have massive initiatives.
That's awesome.
So
I like what you guys are doing too. It seems like you have an assortment for entry level, you know what I mean, intermediate, advanced, and the way that you guys are kind of segmenting it. It's awesome because somebody who's just getting started won't get to the billionaires table, but maybe next year they can get their weight up that way. So the fact that you are isolating each skill set and entry, level of, investment is awesome. And not to mention it's in Dubai. So it's only right, you know what I'm saying, to have the billionaire panel too. That's awesome.
Amazing. Thank you, brother. Yeah, just to elaborate a little more, I feel like it's taken the best of every experience that I've had going to these conferences and putting them in one place.
Nice.
So I got Sway Lee retained.
Nice.
So, because, Walt Disney said, I'd rather entertain people and hope they were educated than to educate people and hope they were entertained. You know what I'm saying?
Fire.
So that's really the thing. Good food, good people, an amazing location, beautiful views, you know what I'm saying? Foreign dynamic to it, you know what I'm saying? So there's like, panelists, half of the panelists are located Dubai, residents. And then you have other people flying in from around the world that are given like this, because tax strategy, which is really generational wealth, you know what I'm saying? Having that corporate structure is international, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
yes.
My man Afi knows that's international Afi right there, baby.
Yeah, right.
It's cool you pushed it back. We got time to get our shit together now. Hey, we just got more time. That's all.
Get my weight up. You know what I'm saying?
Going, bro. Out, man.
That's gonna be awesome.
I love it, man. There, bro. So yeah, man, that's really the dream, man. To record it, take the information that we receive, and then disseminate it. You know what I'm saying? Share it and monetize it, obviously, because what you were saying too is like it's not being selfish in filling your cup because you can't pour from an empty one.
Boom. You know I mean,
So,
like you niggas are not listening, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not listening. You know what I mean? You guys, your goddamn passports aren't tatted up. You know what I'm saying? You guys don't even. You talking international. You know what I'm saying? Like the level of conversation, the plethora of knowledge that we can take advantage of and build together. But niggas don't want to hear that shit, bro. It's crazy. I mean, I'm an older dude. You know, I'm getting grumpier by the goddamn day.
I feel that.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like there's really no excuses, man. You know what I'm saying? So take advantage.
Dubai is a real fly spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people would just be around energy like that. Like, I remember when I was in Priya Island in Cape Verde, Africa, and a lot of it was Priya Island. And, I made a video. I actually shed some tears, man, because it was kind of a cool thing to see my people, man, flex like that. But the difference was it wasn't really a flex; it was a way of life for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like that.
It's not a big deal.
It wasn't like a little flake ass or that little random type kind of flex vibe. It was just on some. We got a Benz and a dog and a 3-story house on the beach. That's how we doing it. We walk in and eating our little coffees and shit, having good conversations. And I remember I was out there, man. I had lunch with Miss West Africa. Didn't even know it, fam.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. And y'all niggas y'all be extra level pussy chasing. And I'm meeting Miss West Indian, having lunch with her on accident.
Word. Crazy.
Nah, I mean, you can't even say it's accidental, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're a vibration. You're a vibration, bro.
Yeah. That's some real shit, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all about this is you said it best, Mitch, man. It's a vibration. You know what I'm saying? It's the seeds that we've been planting.
And I didn't pay for the date either.
Get it fucked up.
Lit.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So
well, let me ask you this, Mitch. I got a question for you too, real quick. So let me ask you this, bro. So in your opinion regarding what you've said, we talk about masculinity a lot. There's a big space or big conversation about men should be leading with their wallets and things of that nature. Through all the things that you've had to go through and to get to where you are to achieve it, and not to get into your personal, but should a man forfeit his leadership role simply because he gets into a relationship and provides for the woman, despite the fact that the woman was either not built or equipped to handle the stress that the man had to endure, or the goddamn support, or she's incapable? Because some women just, you know what I mean, they want the world, but they're not willing to do it. So should a man forfeit his leadership role? You know what I mean? Like the thing that first got her attention in the first place, and he gets married, or the relationship, starts to.
No, not at all, man. I mean, I think it's super important. I mean, when you're talking about like just preserving the dynamic, the function that has got us this far.
Right.
It's cyclical. It's crazy because the more books that I listen to, the more that I read, you see the things that happened in the 1600s are happening here to some degree, some dynamic that's relative.
Sure.
Because we really, what I'm saying, like we evolve at a slow rate, but there's very much like our foundational existence, right? And not to say that, what I'm saying, like there aren't varying degrees of men that are feminine and women that are masculine, right? Sure. But in that spectrum, what I'm saying, and knowing yourself, like, you may be more compatible with a masculine woman if you are a more feminine man. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yes.
But as a masculine man, what I'm saying, that knows his nature, knows, what I'm saying, where he stands, how he got to where, like you were explaining with that partner, and then now she's trying to change you for her convenience. Like, that to me, I feel like that's just short-sightedness, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because if you want a man to be masculinely submissive, it's just a contradiction.
Right.
And what I'm saying, cooperation, there's conversation, but to, you know, like 90% of language is nonverbal.
Right.
And, you know, like, you know, and I will be a little vulnerable, I guess, for the audience. So we give them a little,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my girl, she's a little more aggressive. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm just more aggressive that I attracted an aggressive woman, but like it works to my benefit, and I guess sometimes to my detriment, where like I'm like, okay, I'll fall back on that. But you know, 80% of things I'm not being a submissive individual on, because of the line that I got to draw.
Right.
And, you know, where I feel like, you know, my leadership role is steering this family in, you know what I'm saying? Because if you have some amazing ideas that you can logically explain, I'm gonna take that. I'm not gonna be ignorant.
Right.
But I'm not gonna let you grab the wheel.
These niggas don't understand what you're saying.
If we going into rough terrain and you want to grab the wheel whenever we going into rough terrain, no. You don't sit as a happy camper when we're riding smooth, and then when it gets a little rough, you want to grab the wheel.
Stupid.
That's not how it happens.
Right. That's next level shit. A lot of these niggas ain't gonna understand that shit, bro.
But you know, life is for reasons and for seasons, man. And it's you know, like as much as we want to hold on to things in life, you know what I'm saying, sometimes it's not forever. You know what I mean? And like, you know, I'm gonna fight for my family to the death of me, you know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that, you know, I necessarily have to be in a relationship with my kid's mother, even though that's what I'm fighting for. You know what I'm saying? I'm investing in, you know what I'm saying, and thinking forward with my planning.
Good intentions, right, sure.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there's like if that line gets crossed where it's like, okay, you're not respecting, you know what I'm saying, my divine nature to lead us towards, you know what I'm saying, the promised land, then you know.
It is what it is. Yeah, and that's congruent with your whole, you know, grinding behind your manifestation, you know, being a savvy businessman. We, you know, again, men of vision, men of stature, men who create things think alike, similar, very similar. You know what I mean? So like you guys are talking my language. But what I think is very important, I think for the audience also, is to understand that, you know, with good intentions, you know what I mean, you're fighting for your family, you're fighting for what is important, but you know, there are tough choices that men have to make. And if a line is blurred or there is a lack of, you know, respect or congruency in what we expect from the relationship, then at that point we have to make those decisions. But that is what defines a man. That's what a risk taker does. That's what the guy with heavy lies the goddamn crown. This is what he's talking about. Next level shit. You know what I mean? Knowing when to pick your battles and strategically executing. That's how you win.
Amen. Well said.
My man Mitch, we talk about the relationships around here. So since you're in one, could you give our players like 3 like tips on how to, you know, maybe establish or even just keep one going if they're in one, because it's a up and down thing, and people can think that that's the finish line, and I feel like that's always the beginning. So what could you drop on?
Hey, nah, that's wise, man. And you know, I had to be young and dumb to be old and wise, right? And you know, I feel like what I've learned is that, you know, you just want to be a master of your emotions. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women, you know, I feel like subconsciously will test you. They will test you to make sure that you can control your emotions, because you know what I'm saying, I saw something recently where it was like, you know, women will, you know, kind of ghost you in order to see how you react to it. If you're clingy, if you're, you know, have like detachment issues, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's almost like, you know, women want a guy who can be without them, essentially.
Right.
So, you know, you have to be okay and be happy being alone, you know, one, for your own well-being, not just so you could get the woman, you know, truthfully be okay with being alone. But, you know, it works out that way in your benefit as well, where a man who's secure in his solitude, a woman will want to change that.
Absolutely.
One more.
Got one more. Got one more.
Oh, one more, man. I mean, trim your nails. Now I was playing. Nah, definitely for me, man. I feel like it's you know, things that'll put you above. You know, a lot of other men are simple things that women look at, which are hygiene. You know what I'm saying? If you a man that, you know what I'm saying, does certain things on a regular basis in order to, you know, keep yourself presentable, you know what I'm saying, that's going to reflect on how you're perceived. And you know, we live in a social media age, you know, so there's a lot of people that are, you know what I'm saying, like looking at you through, you know, how you project yourself.
Sure.
I mean, most importantly, man, I feel like it's, you know, you wanna be yourself, man. You want to be yourself, and you want to get to the bag. At the end of the day,
to the bag, my nigga. Let's get to the bag. You know what I mean?
You want to, yo. You look.
Yeah.
I heard something recently too, man, where they were like, it was another podcast, and you could tell, like, you know, some guy was like, oh, he was like, I would rather be wealthy and have like a kind of a dad bod than to be jacked and not be wealthy. And then the counterpart, the girl was like, oh yeah, there's something about that wealthy body, that little stomach that they have, like, that was like, but if that little stomach wouldn't look good if the man wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So it's just this psychological thing behind a man of prominence that exactly
stupid.
So get to the bag, man. Get to the bag.
Shit,
treat yourself right, and you know what I'm saying, you're gonna attract good people in your life for sure.
That sounded like Anton Daniels. That sounded like something.
I gotta hit the gym, bro. I'm not even like sitting here.
No, it's all good, man. Fuck all that shit. We get there when we get there. Yeah, go ahead.
You stupid.
It was a pleasure chopping game, man. I ain't gonna have you all night. But like I said, man, you're welcome anytime. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a panel next weekend. You're welcome to join that. I don't know if it's gonna be Saturday or Sunday, but I usually do them around 7:30 Pacific. It'd be a late night vibe. You know, cam off, so you ain't gotta worry about your presentation. Yeah, you're welcome to pull up. But let's just check out real quick. So just tell them how they can reach you and just things you just want to leave them with real quick.
My brothers, thank you so much, first off, gentlemen, for your time and for your company, man. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. But if anybody wants to find me, you can look for me on Instagram. That's probably one of my mains. It's manifesting.mitch. And if you want to look for information about the event, you want to go to www.thegwc.us. That's thegwc.us.
Cool. Me, Afi Kingdom. Follow me, international.afi. I just dropped my books, like I said. I got 2 more books. They specialty books. These going to be the high tier $50, $60 books that the cats that want to learn how to kiss girls. Y'all don't need how to. You're not supposed to know how to take the souls. You're not even supposed to have these books. So I got Success. So that's the Life and Time of King Fee 2. And then I also got Hell, Sex, and Sacrifice, which is also, we got some game in there, but it's also a script that I wrote. So that's the second script that I wrote. The first one I'm going to show you guys. AV, what you got?
And I appreciate you guys, Mitch. Pleasure meeting you, man. This is grown man talk, man. This was awesome. This is what we need. This is what you guys need to be receptive to. Make sure you guys drop a comment. As you know, make sure y'all follow my channel at Alpha Villains on YouTube. Check out my morning show, Finish Your Breakfast with AV, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. Appreciate y'all.
Cool. So yeah, make sure y'all like this video, share the video, and I need y'all to drop a comment. Let me know what resonates with you guys the most. And if you guys want to attend the Dubai party and you think you want to be fly, you want fly story shit to post so the girls can come to you and you can attract them. You won't have to extra level P chase and be on their DMs and shit. You make sure you tap in with my man Mitch, and in the comment section, put a 100 if you want to meet us at Dubai. Because I want to go there and I'm going to have my little white little outfit on, and I'm going to be doing all the little sporty things too. And showing lifestyle, and showing you guys that you can attract what you want by just being yourself. But you got to figure out what yourself look like. Once you figure that out, that's the guideline. Good night. Peace.